Everybody, stop what you're doing. Sekiro just got sex appeal. That's right, April 2024 has brought us an absolutely incredible game in Stellar Blade. No microtransactions, no pay to win, just an all-around great time. Thank you, Shift Up. Shift Up, who is the developer of the game, is actually known for mobile games, so the fact that they could pull Stellar Blade off is super impressive to me. But I also know basically nothing about game development, so maybe the work translates well. Either way, this is pretty awesome and shows the studio's range. Now, this game has some controversy I've been seeing bits and pieces of due to the sexualization of the main character, but don't worry, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Or, I said that wrong. I'm not going to talk about the controversy. I went into this game completely blind and just wanted to enjoy it for what it is and give you all a video update on my time with the game. While it's not perfect by any means, I found Stellar Blade to be an absolutely incredible time. From the plot twist, to the side quests, to the collectibles, to just enjoying these wonderful maps. Let's not delay any further. Put on your planet diving suits, and let's dive into the apocalyptic world of Stellar Blade. Quick note here, this video is going to contain spoilers on the plot. I think there are some great plot twists, and I found myself enveloped in the world and lore, so if you don't want spoilers, stop the video. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thanks.
I see all that pain. I'll put an end to it.
Let's start with the gameplay here. The game has two initial difficulty options with a third hard mode unlocking upon completion of the game. This is great for accessibility, and as much as I love the challenge of Souls games, I mean they are my favorite games, I gotta try to get this playthrough done for the sake of getting the video out on time, so I played on the story mode difficulty. Now that's not to say the game is not still challenging. I'll be the first to admit I'm not the best gamer, and that made itself known through my time with Stellar Blade because I was getting bullied worse than Toby from The Office, even on the easier difficulty. This game is not for the faint of heart. It's definitely challenging. But that made for all the greater experience in my eyes as I couldn't just breeze through it with my eyes closed and I really had to get the hang of Eve's abilities. Speaking of abilities, our main character, Eve, has a host of different ways of dealing with enemies that range from fancy swordplay to guns to some wicked burst attacks that harness some energy for some deadly sword strikes. Eve can also transform into our old friend Taki's fighting styles later on in the game, and even grows a wing for this, which is honestly pretty freaking awesome. I wish I could gain abilities from people I've met in life, then maybe I'd actually have some talent. Jokes aside, the abilities are essential to dealing with enemies and are very handy for not getting overwhelmed in this desolate world, because when it comes to combat, Eve has to truly harness her inner John Wick and operate as a one-man army. As for the enemies, we fight monster-like aliens and droids known as Naytibas, who I'll talk about a bit later, and the enemy variety is great. The bosses are absolutely incredible, and there are enough different types of enemies that the game never really gets stale. A lot of these enemies are genuinely difficult and can make just wandering the wasteland quite a challenge if you're not prepared, or if you let yourself get overwhelmed. Overall though, their designs are really cool, and I had a fun time trying to figure out how to handle all the different styles of enemies without getting overwhelmed and dying. And trust me, I died more times than Goku in my playthrough.
Eve, you're late to the party. How does it feel to be responsible for the fall of Zion?
Back to those incredible bosses, my personal favorite was the unidentified Naytiba, or Raven, or Karakuri, or shoot, even the Demigorgon. Really, all the late game bosses were so awesome, it's hard to pick. It felt like ordering off a menu at a Gordon Ramsay restaurant and that it all looked good and I'm the idiot sandwich over here trying to decide which is the best. But in a video game, I'll happily take all of the above and appreciate these incredible designs and attack patterns for a lore-rich fight. Not to mention, I may or may not have died like 20 times to the unidentified Naytiba, but I told you I sucked at the game. Side note, the soundtrack for the bosses is truly unmatched. This game has an incredible score, and that alone, I'm sure, will win some type of award down the line. One thing I think I should include in the gameplay discussion here is the level design. Now, while I was a bit disappointed we go from the wasteland to the Great Desert and essentially get 2 desert biomes for levels, I guess the plot of the game is that Earth is basically just a giant wasteland, so it makes sense lore-wise. I was just hoping for a bit more variety in our 2 major open world sections, but that's alright. I still enjoyed both. Especially the constant tension of trying to guess when a lurker was going to jump out of the sand and attack me. On that note, the levels shift between linear levels and open world, providing a bit of a hybrid experience that I think extremely helps the pacing of the game. Right when you're starting to get a bit tired of the linearity of Eidos 7, boom, you're in a big city full of all new side quests that takes you out to a huge open world area, begging you to explore it. Want to go fishing? Sure, I'm sure the world isn't on a time crunch or anything that needs to be saved. Let's just catch these 25 fish first and help out the cute little robot, and while we're at it, we might as well change our haircut. And oh, what was our mission again? Anyway, there's even some Dead Space levels where the game takes away your sword and all you have is your puny gun to defend you from some serious jump scares and some of the scariest looking enemies in the game. The heck is that thing? Ugh. And those little red bodies crawling at you? Yeah, I was beyond creeped out in this area, and they really nailed the atmosphere. Speaking of nailing an atmosphere, I think that's a perfect segue into our discussion about the story. I might get some hate in the comments for this. I've seen some posts criticizing the story, but I guess I'm just easy to please Earl, because I thought the story was awesome. I'll agree with you all that Adam's English voice actor is, well, a bit rough at times.
We got it. The hypercell. This is going to do a lot of good.
But I really like the story. I would sit and read all the little collectibles that provide some lore background and hints to where the plot is going because I was so invested in trying to guess right. And guess what? I was still so wrong. People say that it was predictable. Hats off to you, because I wasn't even close to guessing the plot twist. Now, I don't have a firm grasp on the lore of the world, but I'm going to do my best here, so bear with me. Let's have a shot at a brief plot summary to catch everybody up to speed, shall we?
But
Something's fishy. Oh, come on. These are all fake.
We control Eve, member of the 7th Airborne Squad, a group of highly combat-trained super soldiers from the space colony sent to Earth with the goal of stopping the Naytibas. After a short-lived adventure with our Captain Taki, no, not the chip, she's a person, Eve is saved by Adam and they quickly escape to a ruined city. That's right, their names are Adam and Eve. I think there's more to that, but I'll come back. Anyway, after we take out an Alpha Naytiba, we rescue Lily, another Airborne Squad member, except she's more of a support role and is not combat trained, and head to the game's only city, Zion. I'm feeling a lot of Bible references here. Well, minus the main character, I don't think she was in the Bible. But anyway, we meet a creepy old robot man named Oracle who sends us on a mission to take out Alpha Naytibas and collect their cores for the purpose of continuing to power the city of Zion. Through the collectibles and side quests, we learn not everything is as it seems in Zion, and something strange is definitely afoot, but with no other options for now, we obey. I mean, our goal was to take out Naytiba anyway, so this works for now, I guess. Throughout our collections of these Alpha Cores, we come across some holograms left behind by a prior Airborne Squad member, Raven, and she is definitely anti-Mother Sphere, who essentially serves as the god of this world, and is the one who sent the Airborne Squad members in the first place. So is our boss actually evil? Well, hold your horses. After we collect a few Alpha Cores, Oracle reveals that all the original humans are dead, and we're just a bunch of androids. I knew this was like Dragon Ball. Well, we get a little further down the line, take a nice tourist trip to space with another— oh my god, what is that thing?
that's the real Alpha.
Then after blowing up a moon-sized monster, we come back hoping to find Adam, who stayed behind, only to find Zion in ruins, and that same Raven Crow Naytiba monster starts talking to us like we're on a bad mushroom trip.
What? You can speak?
In spite of everything, I do wonder why he chose you instead of me. I've already proven this much, but why?
Turns out the Naytiba that killed our mentor at the beginning of the game is actually prior Airborne Squad member Raven. How does that make sense, you ask? Well, I'm not sure how they transform like that, but it turns out Naytibas are the original humans, and by natural adaptation, they become these monstrous beasts with a penchant for violence. I feel bad for the guys that turn into the little weak Naytibas, like the little bugs that crawl around. Man, tough luck, but I guess they can't all be alphas. Well, turns out Oracle was actually the very first Alpha Naytiba, and now we have to go find Adam to make sure he's okay. Please tell me that was convincing. Alright, fine, yeah, you guessed it, you genius. Adam is the Elder Naytiba, the OG, and he gives us the choice. Either we kill him or fuse with him. That doesn't mean sex, by the way. I thought the same thing, but it's a lot more clean than that.
I know this is a disappointment. I'm sorry, Eve.
And after our decision is made, we have a few cool boss battles, Mother Sphere comes down to speak with us, and the credits roll.
Lily, I want you to stay back this time. This is my battle.
Okay, so first let's quickly mention the side quests in this game are amazing. They provide such strong world building and emotions that give a lot of depth to Eve's character. My personal favorite is a singer named Enya's questline, as we repair her and give her another chance at life, despite her lover not being our biggest fan. I also like the Ark side quest, as you get to see some of the real cruelty in the world and how there is some true fear and insanity pulsing throughout Zion. The bosses, especially the late game rush, are phenomenal. Raven has one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in gaming. Adam is fought on an absolutely insane landscape with a crazy imposing presence in his newfound armor shell. I don't know, he's kind of like a crab or something, but I guess whatever it is, it's pretty cool. The lore is rich in these fights, and you see these culminations of hatred and pain and agony that has created these monsters, and they're really pretty badass. Now back to the names of the characters. Obviously we have Adam and Eve, but we find out Adam's real name is Raphael Marx, and I think him taking on the name of Adam is intentional, as he is the Elder Nativa, much like Adam in the Bible is the original human. I think the game does parallel the Bible in some ways, but I really gotta mention, I think Raven should have been named Lilith, since that would fit much better, but whatever, small detail and I'm rambling here. Anyways, I thought the connection was cool, but admittedly don't fully understand it. One thing I will point out is Raphael Marx, or Adam, did absolutely horrible things and experiments to people in the two Lavoir Dead Space locations, so regardless of your interpretation of which ending is the best, Adam has a shaky past at best. Speaking of the endings, we essentially must choose to side with Mother Sphere and kill Adam, or side with Adam and fuse with him to create a potential new future. Basically, Adam believes that by fusing we can preserve humanity's history through its DNA when we start anew, while Mother Sphere seems to want to wipe the slate completely clean. As for which ending is the good one, I lean towards Mother Sphere, but the true ending seems to be siding with the fusion with Adam, as we get an extra after credits scene where we see Eve and Lily return to a rebuilding Zion, hopeful for a strong future. The Mother Sphere ending, meanwhile, ends with Eve and Lily returning to the colony, where we see the Earth is completely surrounded by what is presumably the colony, but honestly this ending was a bit lost on me. Is this a sign that the Earth will soon be attacked? Either way, we need some answers. And this sets the game up for a sequel perfectly, where I have a feeling we'll be going against Mother Sphere in some way. I do ultimately think ridding the world of the violent Nativas is a better path, so I'm a bit biased against the fusion with Adam, but I also will admit, I don't think Mother Sphere is all sunshine and rainbows. She's definitely scheming and manipulating for her own motives, but you know, I could be completely wrong, so let me know what you all think in the comments. Well, I think that was a good start. I know I'm not the best source for lore analysis for this particular game, but I think a lot of this is very up for interpretation until we can get either a sequel, DLC, or word from game developers. Ultimately, I would like to hear more significance regarding the plethora of Bible references in the game, alongside ending interpretations. Personally, I think Mother Sphere is the way to go for the game, but I know that might be an unpopular opinion, and I really don't understand the surrounded Earth, which seems to raise more questions than answers. But overall, Stellar Blade is a fantastic game with phenomenal gameplay, a great story, engaging side quests, and of course, fishing. I mean, come on, y'all thought I was gonna forget about the fishing. I mean, come on, this is one of my favorite parts of the game. As of now, Stellar Blade is my game of the year for 2024, and I can only encourage you to give it a shot, because jokes aside, this game is awesome, and I would love for someone smarter than me to enlighten me with some cool game theories. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Your mainframe's nerve fibers and exospine have all been severed. So now, you won't be able to fight. You've taken so much from me. In exchange, I'll allow you to witness the end. In that state.
If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out some of my other videos on the channel, like the one I did on South Park: The Stick of Truth. Thanks again for watching.